But Mel, it irritates me when I occasionally see your accuracy questioned because there are two concepts operating here. There's what you think a team should do, and then there's what a team will do, does do, right? And they're not intertwined because you might think that the Colts should take Trent Dilfer, but they don't. So if you mocked it that they took Trent Dilfer and they took Trev Alberts, then it's you can't win that because your instinct was correct because you were proven correct over years. It took 10, 12 years to validate you. But the two concepts.
What you're saying is exactly right. In my early draft reports, when I started out, I had a mock draft about what I thought would happen. And I had a mock, if you want to call it a mock, what I would have done had I been the GM of each team following it through. And I had side by side. They were completely different, Skip. But I think the thing that I wouldn't say it was not irritating because I understand where they're coming from. But mock drafts are trying to one trade throws it all out of whack. And a lot of my mocks would come out. The last mock for the draft report came out in March, long before the draft. So that was out early. Now we're doing the mocks on a more regular. Even then, see, I always tell people, and they don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. If you get 6, 7, 8 direct hits the night before the draft, you've done pretty well. If you get 25, 26 of the 32 that go in the first round, at least somewhere in your first round, you've done pretty well. They think you're supposed to get 20 direct hits or whatever. That ain't happening. So at the end of the day, people were saying, I remember I was reading somewhere, he had 7 direct hits. That's it. If I get 7 direct hits on a mock, my last mock was 4.0. I don't do one before the draft anymore, the night before, I'd be pretty happy. So I don't think they understand how difficult that is, and a couple picks that don't go your way throw everything out of whack. But that's why, and all you're trying to really do, I tell people, put them in a range, and they can see the progress from each mock to see how players moved around and the grade fluctuated, and then see the range. The guy, if you have him at 14 and he goes 18 or he goes 20, at least he's in the first round. I think that's even more important. Who do you have going there? And free agency changes needs, so the mocks change because of that. But no, I've always believed it's a tap dance, Skip, between where you hear guys are going to go, players are going to go, and where you think they should go or where you would draft them. So ratings and mocks always collide. It's a collision. And it gets into your head because when you see or hear this player may go there, it's so easy. And I always caution Todd McShay, Field Yates, Jordan Reed, Matt Miller, everybody I've worked with, okay, to not go and move players based on where they're being mocked. Or you hear a guy could now be a first-round pick. Well, I got to move his grade up. Well, if you thought he was player 58, or don't move him to 25. But I'll tell you this, Skip, it's really tempting. It's hard not to, because guess what you'll do? You'll hear that in March, and all of a sudden you'll go back and start looking at that player and say, I didn't see that. He's right. They're right. I missed that. And you'll move. It's just a natural human reaction to move that player up. But that's where I say the collision of mocks and ratings. And I spent all day, I was looking at day 3 guys that may not even get drafted, Skip. Nobody knows, nobody cares, but that's what I'm doing. I'm not sitting here worrying about what's the Raiders are going to do at pick number 6 right now. I'm worrying more about who's that 6th, 7th round pick that I'm going to have to be talking about. And I know Field Yates is doing the same thing, and Matt Miller and Jordan Reed and Louis Riddick and everybody involved in that draft, and Reese Davis and Greeny. That's what everybody's doing now. We're looking at everybody. So when the mocks and the ratings collide, there's a problem. And you have to kind of, in your mind, separate the two. It's difficult to do, but you have to be able to do it.
Do you read the comments about you on the internet, just random comments, any negativity? Do you care about that? Do you take any of that to heart?
Well, I'll tell you what, Skip. Years ago, I would get sent a lot of the articles, okay? And after the draft, and then Kim would always say, my wife would always say, let me show you something. No, because I don't want to see the good. I don't want to see the bad. I don't want to see the positive commentary. I don't want to see the negative commentary. I said, I don't want to see any of that because, first of all, it will affect you. It will impact you because you're going to react to somebody that said something that wasn't accurate because a lot of stuff that comes through may not be the way you said it in the right context. So I don't want to have to react to that negatively. I certainly don't want to have to see things that are praising you based on this, that, or that because if you want to see the good, you got to see the bad. And I don't want to see the bad or the good. So, I appreciate everything that everybody says, good or bad, because they always say if they're talking about you, you must have some importance to what's going on. So to me, if they didn't care or they didn't respect you, they would say nothing. And I know some of the scathing articles about me were by people who became friends of mine. And they said, hey, I was just told to write an article. You were the target. And that's what I did. So some of these people became really good friends of mine later on. Tony Kornheiser being one of those. Okay. I said, Tony, you were destroying me back in the day. No, that's what I was doing. I didn't know you from Adam. I didn't know you. I knew, but hey, you were the guy. You were there, and the rest is history. Every year I wrote about what an idiot you are, for doing what you're doing. So we became great friends, and I understood what Tony was doing, and I understand what everybody's doing. They have a job to do, and they're doing it. But no, I do not want to see anything written one way or the other, good or bad. No.
Is it fair to say, not that I know you that well, but I have been around you enough to say you have very thick skin, but you have a big heart? Would you agree with that description?
I've always tried, I think, in this business to basically assist and help anybody that comes along. I always wanted, I guess, like when Todd, I always wanted Todd. I wanted Jordan. I wanted Matt. I want Field to be with me. What I never wanted, Skip, was to be the last word. I never wanted people to say, I wanted somebody to have a counterpoint, have a different opinion, have a different rating, have a different view on a team. And let's have an agreement or a disagreement that's organic, that's real. And that's what Todd and I had all those years. And certainly Field and I had. I always told Field, don't worry about, hey, I'm going to be 65. You're 38, Field. Don't worry about criticizing the old guy, okay? Or having a different opinion. Hey, that's what we want. So Field's been great. Come right at me. That's like, nothing's going to offend me. I've never been offended by anything anybody ever said because I get it. I understand. Things are said in the heat of the moment, whatever. People write things. They say things. Some things are out of context. You can't worry about it, Skip. You have to what I try to sit back and appreciate is the level of interest in this process that I believed in back in 1975, that here we are in 2025 and it's going strong, and we're going to be in Green Bay with millions of people there and millions of people watching. So to see the result of what you believed in and nobody else did come to this level, get to this level is rewarding, Skip. So I look back and I just try to enjoy each day and enjoy each draft because they're all different. They're like snowflakes. They're all different, right? Every draft is different players, different storylines, different everything. And that's why people say, how can you be as enthusiastic now as you were in 1988? You are, or 85, or 79 when you had the first book go out. It's because they're all different. And as long as you have that going, why wouldn't you be enthusiastic about it?